Live! That's right, boys and girls, we are live. And we're looking forward to the biggest game of the season, the final game of the season. It's Sheffield United, it's Blackburn Rovers, and of course, it is live. But it's not today, it's tomorrow. Today, we're going to preview the game and we'll get into the deep end in just a second. Of course, if you're new, where you've been, smash your subscribe, boys and girls. Your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers. Whether it ends tomorrow or we've got another couple of weeks of football bonanza left on our lockers. We'll see about all that in a minute. Big shout out to the members, big shout out to the patrons. You know who you are. So what we're going to do now, of course, is preview the game, what we can expect from the other side, what we can expect from Rovers, what we can expect from maybe you guys. There is a link down the bottom here. If you want to jump on and get your comments in the show, live, you can do that. We have a little chat if you want. You don't have to, no pressure. I might be getting somebody on here shortly anyway. But if you wanna get your word out, the link is down on the screen at the bottom. But anyway, let's get to the deep end and have a little look at the match itself. I'm going to move a few screens around. We are doing this live. Get your comments in. Do you think Rovers can do it? A lot of big old ask, isn't it, really? And some comments made by Chris Wilder have given me a little bit more fuel in the fire. But anyway, we'll get into all of that in a minute. Let's preview the game then, shall we? Here we go. It's Sheffield United. It's Blackburn Rovers. That's coming at you tomorrow. We're around about 24 hours away from kickoff. So what can we expect? Well, looking at the last 17, it's not the best reading for Rovers fans coming into this. Sheffield United won 9 of them. We've won 5 of them. And there's been 3 draws between the two sides. Now, coming into this also, Sheffield United's form is not great. They're on 33% form, just 2 wins out of the last 6. They did finish third, or they have finished third. That will not change. As for Rovers, we are 8th, and it can change. We could go as high as 5th, but of course we can go as low as maybe, I don't know, 10th. I don't know. We'll see the graphic in a minute. On our record, we do have a 5-0 win on our record, but we don't need that. We don't really need that. All we need is a 1-0 win and a little bit of luck elsewhere, and that could be the difference maker. We have the 5-0 win on our record. We've got 18 goals scored in those 17 matches against Sheffield United, working at around about 1.06 goals a match. And we're coming into this, the form team in the division, 4 wins on the spin, up against the Sheffield United side, who have got a 3-0 win on their record. They've scored 24 goals against us, picking up a 1.41 goals a game ratio over the course of those 17 matches. But let's take a look at the last 6 then, shall we? This is about both home and away. It's not pleasant reading. Again, these few graphics here are not pleasant reading for Blackburn Rovers fans. Coming into this on the back of back-to-back defeats against Sheffield United. One earlier in the season at Ewood Park, we're losing 2-0 to Sheffield United. Not the greatest bit of form. That was back in November. The last time we played at Brammal Lane was the illustrious FA Cup quarter-final match. That's right, where we looked at one point, but I knew that we were on our way to Wembley to the semi-final. But Oliver McBurney not only equalised, and then Tommy Doyle won it. We didn't even get extra time, guys. What an absolute shambles. Goodness gracious me. But we did beat them once. It was at Ewood Park. And yes, take from that from what you will. Our only wins in the last 6 have been at Ewood Park. The last 6 at Bramall Lane look like this, guys. It's not great reading. 0 wins on the card here. We do have a draw all the way back in 2006, but that is not going to be good enough to get us over the line. We need a win. We've got to do something we haven't done in nearly 20 years. Goodness gracious me. I don't even know when the last win. In fact, maybe this graphic can tell us. This is the last 10. We are looking for the red ones, the red score lines here, and I do not see any one of the last 10 that we have won at their place. So not good reading at all. So pretty miserable. But if you roll back the years into the history books, it's better. It's just, though. Look at it. We've played 123 times over the course of history. We've won 47. They've won 46. There's been 30 draws. They've outscored us by 1 goal. We could change that. We could get it all blue on this one if we can get the win this weekend at Bramall Lane. So that's what the history books tell you. What about the values of the squad? And let's break those down for you right here, right now. So they're coming into this with a squad valuation of 134 million euros. That's nearly 3 times the valuation of Blackburn Rovers. That's right. They're averaging 4.64 million euros a player. Their squad age is a little bit younger than us. They've got 6 national team players compared to our 5. They've got 3 youth national team players compared to our 1. And they've got 12 foreigners to our 11. Well, what about the coaches then under the microscope? Let's take a look. It's Big Val up against Chris Wilder, of course. And look at this. Big Val has managed against Chris Wilder the once. He's got the perfect record. 3 points out of a possible 3. However, Chris Wilder does like to manage against Blackburn Rovers. He's managed against us 5 times, losing just the once, picking up a nice 2.40 goals a game ratio. So that's the coaches. This is me. I'm going to slip on these bad boys, something to get a little bit saucy here. And of course, we're going to talk about it. Not just me. But hopefully, Jonty here. Hang on a second, Jonty. I've got a little bit of a nightmare on again. Always, I've got a nightmare on my end, but I've got to do a little. I don't know how I'm going to do this. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Maybe do it like that. I don't know. We'll get there. This is live TV. If I do it like this and push you over there like that. I'm getting there. I don't know. Maybe I can crop you. We got you. Hang on. Getting there. I don't know what I've done here. Can I get out of this? Stand by, Jonty. I'll be with you in just a second here. I don't know what I've done, but we're gonna have a chat with Jonty here. This is live TV stuff. I'm trying to get two people on the screen. Oh, there we go. That'll do. There we go. It works. Easy peasy. Jonty, how the devil are you're on mute. You're on mute at the moment. Pinged a request here.
Any good now?
I can hear you. I think it's coming in golden. How are you feeling heading into the weekend? Of course, the bigger opportunity than we had a couple of years ago. Are you confident that first and foremost, are you confident that we'll meet Sheffield United?
I only put myself on mute, mate, because I was snoring whilst you're sorting out all the technological issues in the background. But how am I feeling? I was all right up until about today, and now I've got the 365 stomach that's just constantly churning. It's an exciting time. I am quietly confident, and why shouldn't I be? You've probably already discussed it. I think Millwall have got a very tough gig away at Burnley. Burnley will be wanting to win the league. Of course, he will. Obviously, you've got the Coventry versus Middlesbrough, so that's one of the teams potentially that could slip and fall there. Coventry, great form at home, but then they've got the dodgy keeper as well. So I've got a colleague that's a Coventry fan. I was speaking to him yesterday, and he basically said that. And then you've got Bristol City as well, haven't you? Playing Preston, who will be fighting for the lives. So, Sheffield United, are they going to have players rested? I would say so, because potentially it could be Rovers versus Sheffield United in the playoff semi-finals. So they're not, we're going to be giving away, I guess, all of our tactics and our best ways of playing, sort of thing, where Sheffield United might not be. They might just be sort of observers. They're not going to be bothered if they win it, draw it, or lose it. What they'll be wanting to do is come through that game unscathed, won't they? So, yes, I think we've got a really, really good chance. So we'll have to see what happens.
Are you one of the, I don't know if you want to call it lucky or not, that got the tickets? Did you want the tickets?
Yes, I've got 2 tickets. Yes.
Okay. Nervous times await.
Whether I'm going or not remains to be seen, but I've got 2 tickets, yes.
Alrighty. Of course. So I was thinking about this as well. Like if the boot was on the other foot and you're up against a notorious shithouse like Lewis Travis, coming in with a heavy tackle, of course you wouldn't want your best players to be facing that possible little ankle biter here, there, and everywhere, and that could disrupt the season. So do you see this as the like you said, resting players like Gus Hamer, the big boys, the important ones? What about Brereton Diaz? I know he's had a pretty shit return to Brammal Lane. Do you think he can come back to haunt us?
Yeah, well, I think he'll play. Whether he comes back to haunt us remains to be seen, but I think he'll play. I don't think he's quite up there with the other standards of the players that they have. He did all right at Rovers. I know, again, Jonty controversial. I didn't rate him. He wasn't held in such high esteem. Yes, he scored goals and things like that. Yes, he had one amazing season, but sometimes he drifted in and out the game. Sometimes he was a bit of a passenger at times, and he kind of spat his dummy out. That's how it felt. So I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he's definitely not Premier League. I think he's, probably found his place in the Championship. He'll do all right, probably at a mid-table. But yeah, I think you would want to be keeping 3 or 4 players back that that you wouldn't want to get injured, but also that you don't want to give too much of your game plan away when Sheffield United are firing on all cylinders, sort of thing. So, but I mean, we might finish in fifth. It's been a bonkers season. I've never known a season quite like this, and the fact that it's still, so much to play for a lot of the clubs. Going into this final game of the season, I think is brilliant. You've got kind of Burnley and Leeds done and dusted. You've always had Sunderland as a bit of an island, haven't you? Just sat up there by themselves. But they've lost a hell of a lot of form. So the playoffs for me, it doesn't matter who finishes third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. It's about the form going into the playoffs, and Rovers have to be. We're not there just to make up the numbers. Should we make it, I think we could potentially be serious contenders. And me and you have always been sort of an Ishmael fan. I think I sort of termed it best of the rest. Our sort of wet dream managers were never going to come to Rovers, but yes. Even during the bad times, I could see that there was something there happening, and we just weren't clicking for whatever reason. And I said to one of my mates, I said, it's probably just a matter of time before we give somebody a really good hiding. And obviously we did that against Millwall as well. So, we've stopped the leaking silly goals within the first sort of 10 minutes. We're that good. We don't just leak the one, we'd like to leak the two in the first 10 minutes as well. Derby, Sheffield, Middlesbrough, was it? Middlesbrough. I think we did the same, and then we gave 2 goals away at Sheffield, at home to Sheffield Wednesday. So, I think, we're a strong contender. Should we make it? Unfortunately, it's kind of out of our control. We've just got to do what we can do as a team. We've got to do it at Brammal Lane to even stand a bit of a chance. At least, get an early goal would be my own feeling, and then just defend as we can do, and that we're good at.
Yeah, it would. That would also make a little less of a health risk if you get to drag out to the last few minutes, because my heart couldn't take it. Well, just imagine. I know it's a little bit maybe stupid to imagine, but if we were to make the top 6, what would that do for the Rovers fan base? Of course, we're at each other's throats on social media anyway. It seems to be the case, but of course the numbers are down, dwindling. But if we could get into the top 6, do you see that home leg in the playoffs being the biggest attendance we've had in a long, long time? Do you think all the Rovers deserters will be back to cheer the boys on for a final slog, or do you think the bridges have been burned?
I think, as the Beach Boys once sang, God only knows. The Rovers fans base never ceases to amaze me. I would like to think that people just get behind the town, these do. So I would be disappointed if the first leg at home we didn't get sort of 23,000-24,000 on. Whoever we play, they're going to sell out the away end. All depends how many tickets we're going to give them. But I would like to think we do have a big fan base. We've got a very broken fan base. As long as it's just positive, and just getting behind the lads on the field, sort of thing. Leave all the other crap at the turnstiles, and just get behind them. At the end of the day, whatever happens, in the playoffs, it's not the Venky's fault or anything like that, or Waggett's fault. It's just I've said it time and time again. Just if you're going to go and pay your money to support the team on the pitch, go and do that. The club's a different matter. So I'd like to think that we would get a decent home attendance, 23,000, and then if we gave them 5,000 away, then that almost takes it up to capacity. If we gave them almost a full 7,500 that the Darwin end will hold, then well, it probably holds a bit more, but they do the little bit of segregation as well. But potentially it could be a full house. It's anything could happen. But I think, to me, it would just prove it. If we do get the 23,000 on there, then it's it's not all just down to do with Venky's. I've got some of my own mates that said I'll never step foot inside Ewood Park again whilst the Venky's are in charge, but they have done on like the big games, and things like that. So it's either you are or you're not, sort of thing. So, but there's part of me that thinks if you're so anti-Venkies and do stay away, but equally, it'd be embarrassing to have sort of 13,000 home fans on and 7,000 away fans for a semi-final first leg playoff fixture. So you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But yeah, the main message: if you go on, brilliant, support the club, support the team.
Yeah. What about personnel for the match itself? Do you expect any changes? We saw a couple cameos at the back end of the last match. Cargbo coming on. Do you think he's done enough to disrupt the team, or is he going to stick with the 11 that have done so well in the last 2 or 3?
My gut feeling at this moment in time is he'll probably stick with the team that he's been starting with recently. I don't think there'll be too many personnel changes, but the good news is we've got some real decent impact players from the bench. So, I'd like to see Cargbo probably on the bench still, but then, getting a decent run, for maybe, 35, 30, 35 minutes sort of thing. So all depends on the score, I guess. But no, it's I don't think we've done much wrong, in the last couple of games. So yeah, probably stick with what we've got. But the good news is, like I say, we've got options from the bench and decent options as well. So.
And if
are
you
confident, Dirk? Give me.
Am I confident? It depends. It depends what time of the day it is. Depends where the moon is. Sometimes I'm confident. I think I'm confident that we will get something out of Sheffield United. I'm not necessarily saying we'll win, but I think we will not lose the match. I think we won't lose the match. I don't know, and I know we have to win to get in. And I just fear that it will be typical Rovers, that either we'll do it our bit, and then something, goal difference or something will stop us getting in the top 6. But there is a lot of a lot of preparations or stuff that if it just happens, it just puts a massive chaotic spanner in the works for the next 2 weeks for me, because I'm hitting the road after the game pretty much the next day to Pennsylvania for 2 weeks. So, if we were to make it the playoffs, I don't even know if I can watch the fucking playoffs on the TV because I'll be working up in Pennsylvania. So, Pete will be standing in and doing my bit here. But of course, it would be an absolute amazing thing just to get top 6. And again, like you said, the next step is something completely different, but just to feel that we've made a bit of progress. We were so close, goal difference last time, a couple of years ago. Last year was the nightmare season, and again, it just feels the past 2 or 3 seasons we've always dragged it out to the bitter end. And of course, we won it last year in a way that we stayed in the league. But I would just want to taste those playoffs. Give us a chance. Show us what it feels like a little bit, and then who bloody knows after that? It just,
Yeah, I think also psychologically for some of the players, if you were Ishmael, then you'd be saying, "Listen, lads, we've got a great set of players here. Let's go again next season." And it might help with other people, assisting in at least a year's extension on the contracts and things like that if we do make the playoffs. So I think it is a massive game tomorrow. The more I talk to you now, like I said, when I first came on, I was being all right up until today. Now my stomach's doing 365. Now I'm just going into a complete meltdown because I'm talking myself into how big this actual game is. But no, I think it is a big game because, like I say, if we miss out on the playoffs, then yes, players will start to maybe disperse and get their heads turned by other clubs. Where if we do actually make the playoffs, a bit like what Toby Mowbray said to the players when we went down. You guys got us down here. You guys are going to get us out of it. So, let's stick together. So, we might see some of the players that are sort of on the fringes of, signing new contracts and things like that, or at least signing an extension to the contract. Danny Barr and Lewis Travis and Tyrese Dolan as well. Those players, it might just affirm that actually, let's just give it at least one more shot of it. But Tyrese Dolan, he's loved at Blackburn Rovers, and how many players have we seen just think that they're better than what they are? They go to another club, they don't get loved as much, they stay more on the bench, and then they just fizzle and fade into oblivion. We've seen that time and time again. it's harder to probably name players that have left Rovers and gone on to do great things. The one that stands out in my mind is Tom Kearney. I was a massive fan of his, and he went on and has he done great things? No, but he's been very consistent at Fulham, and he has done well. But unfortunately, I can name more players that have left Rovers thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, and they haven't. So, and Tyrese Dolan. He's really upped his game these last few weeks. He's shown us what he's capable of. We've seen the Tyrese Dolan that's been more consistent, because I think in previous seasons and sort of certainly earlier this season, he sort of, he for every one great game that he has, he then has 3 or 4 average ones. So, it's a big game for contract reasons as well. And I do honestly believe that, should we make the playoffs, regardless of how we do in the playoffs, it's a really steep learning curve for a lot of these players that have never been in that sort of position before. And, so yes. Yeah, I'm actually getting bloody wet hands now talking about this. Honestly, like I say, I'm going into a meltdown. I'm not going to sleep tonight now. I should never have agreed to do this with you.
I'm sorry. I do appreciate it, and yeah, it's the same. I think I woke up at like 4:30 this morning, and because USA time, and I was just like, I can't get back to sleep, and I'm just very nervous, even though it is cool 24 hours ahead. And of course, tomorrow for us, kickoff time here stateside is 7:30 a.m. So it's a nice early wake up call. But it's going to be limbs, of course. So if you go, enjoy yourself, and because it'll be a hell of a party just making the top 6. And Sheffield United, I think, I don't even know how much fans are going for that game. It's just.
I believe it is a sellout. Oh, really? I believe it is. Yeah, it is.
Is that Rovers fans getting in on the home side, maybe?
Well, I think probably people, Sheffield United non-season ticket holders, to even stand half a chance to get a ticket for the playoffs, and they'll probably have to get a little bit, get some, if they work on a similar scheme to Rovers, get some points in the bags, not league points, obviously. Hopefully they won't do that, but get some loyalty points, then they can get a playoff ticket as well. So, I did read that it was a sellout, but I'm going to caveat that is that, did they just mean the away end is a sellout? Okay. So if you saw some red empty seats, then unless some Rovers fans have managed to get into Sheffield United home end as well, I hope not. It's never pretty sort of thing. So
no, it isn't. Well, appreciate it. I don't know if you want to put your neck out on a score prediction or just keep that under wraps. That's completely. I don't want to do any jinxes. I want to have all the lucky charms in our favour. So it's up to you if you want to do a prediction or not.
On this occasion, I'm going to not do a prediction. So all my predictions, if anybody is ever stupid enough to watch any of my vlogs, every time I do a prediction, they're completely wrong. So I'm not. I'm just going to. I'm going to do a Denver. I'm going to sit on the fence.
That's right. That's what he does. That's what he does. I appreciate it, Jonty. You enjoy the rest of your day, and of course, a big thank you for coming here on a Friday. And of course, we'll get back into the meat of the matter. Thanks again. Jonty is out. I am back in the hot seat. And where were we? We were talking about the coaches, weren't we? Well, let's talk about the star men. Appreciate the comments. I'll get to those in a minute. If you do want to jump on as well, there is a link down the bottom of the screen, but it'll get a bit more technical disgustingness if you decide to do that, because I have to switch stuff. But hey, it's there. It's there. We've got chats in the comment. Appreciate it. So these are the star men. Anna Amanagovic, of course, is a Swedish, is he Swedish? He's in Bosnian. He's Bosnian defender. That's right. Was linked to Rovers a few years ago under John Dahl Thomason. Of course, he knew him at Malmo. But of course, he went with the money, and that was, of course, Sheffield United. Up against our most experienced man, and that is Tyrese Dolan. Of course, so he is the most expensive man. Let's take a look at the squads in a second. I'll go through the chat here. Charlie Moss says, "Are you going to do a call-in show if we get the players tomorrow?" I'm thinking about that. Again, I don't know. I probably will. I'll probably be. You have to rip me down off of the tree to do just that. What's John's YouTube channel? What can I just subscribe to? As I want to see his vlogs. His vlogs are here, Michael. He does it. He does it out of the goodness of his heart for the channel. As a big contributor, and they are cracking vlogs. So make sure you do that. I don't even know if he's going to do the vlog tomorrow. I think there might be an arm wrestle to who's going to do the vlog, because it could be an absolute mayhem. Hayden says, if we get playoffs, where does that rank in the Rovers' moments in the last decade? At top. It's to top, because the last decade has been pretty abysmal. Playoffs, I think, trumps League One promotion, because realistically, we don't really like to reminisce about that. But let's get back into the hot seat and take a look at the squads. This is Sheffield United's squad coming into this Cooper between the sticks. Maybe not tomorrow. He'll probably be warmed up for the playoffs. And then, of course, a couple of injuries in the back, perhaps. So we might see, or at least a bit of rotation in the back. Moving into midfield, we got the likes of Tom Davies. I don't think he's featured that much. Just Saki is there as well. Again, the likes of Souza, Hamer, maybe even Chowdhury will probably take a little back seat on this one. And up top, you do have Brereton Diaz, but the likes of Kiefer Moore, experienced head, Tom Cannon's up there. It's a bit of a selection box. Very, very much a good looking squad there. This is what I've gone with tomorrow. I don't know how that ranks in regards to strength. I've gone Davis between sticks, Gilchrist at right back, Burrows at left back, Clark and Holding. I don't know if that's a strongest back four. I don't think it is. I think it's a bit of a mixture. Big Sam's in the house. Respect for joining in there. Into midfield, I've gone Saki, Peck, Koulibaly and Brooks, and then Cannon and Brereton Diaz up top. That's what I think, but again, because it's not the strongest team, and it might not necessarily be the weakest team, so we'll see. Anyway, but as for Rovers squad, if you don't know, this is what it is. Blasters Toff expected to continue between the sticks, you would imagine. He's been there forever, unless Pears comes in. You play your strongest. And then the back line, you've got probably Ribeiro's continuing left back. Britain will be at right back. And then into midfield, it's going to be pretty much as you were, you would imagine. But like Jonty said there, we have weapons on the bench. Emmanuel Dennis will be on the bench. Probably Mac Targay, Cargbo and Woodrow will be on the bench. That's 4 powerhouse. I won't say powerhouse, but at least championship level forwards that could cause some problems. I've gone with this. It's pretty much as you would expect it. Toff, Britain, Bath, Hyam, Ribeiro. Then we've got Travis, Tronstad, Hedges. Again, this will be 3 games in a row he starts. We have Cantwell, Dolan and Ohashi to start the line. These are also the best players on the pitch for both sides here. Gustavo Hamer has been the main man, 7.30. And of course, he's just won the Sky Bet Championship Best Player of the Season. Harrison Burrows is in there at left back and Michael Cooper between the sticks. I do have Burrows starting, but it might be Callum, what's his chops at the back. As for Rovers, best player's been Callum Britton, 7.18, out on his own there. Sondre Tronstad, then Todd Cantwell, who, when on form, is pretty much savvy. These are the average ratings. Marcus J's in the house. Appreciate you stopping by for this preview. We got 6.97 for Sheffield United. They are the 4th best ranked team on paper. That's the 4th, not the 3rd, the 4th. They have scored 62 goals compared to our 52. They've conceded 35 to our 47. They picked up 1.4 goals a game compared to our 1.2. That's right. As for accuracy on the ground, 51.3% for Sheffield United, and they got 22 clean sheets compared to our 49.3% possession and 15 clean sheets. As for duels, they're better on the ground and in the air to us, and we have had more red cards than they do so far this season, 4-2. What about possession stats? How do they play their football? Well, Sheffield United prefer to come down the right than the left, and they are on the front foot more often than the back foot there, 31% of the time in the attacking third and 28% in the defensive third. Rovers, even split down the right and the left, and again, still trying to transition from that sort of defensive-minded team to a front-footed team. We are 32% of the time in the back and 26% moving forward. As for shots, Sheffield United prefer to shoot from the right to the left, and 32% of their shots are coming in from outside the box compared to Rovers. Even Stevens right on the left-hand side, 60% within the 18-yard box. Shots received by Sheffield United, 21% of their shots are coming down the left-hand side, and 35% are long-range cookies. As for Rovers, 18% of our shots coming at us, coming from the left-hand side, compared to 36 long rangers as well. The goals, how have they been scored? Well, Sheffield United have scored 37 goals in open play, 11 set pieces, 7 counter-attacks, 4 own goals, and 3 penalties. They've conceded 16 through open play, 11 set pieces. That's a weakness right there. 4 penalties, 3 counter-attacks, and 1 own goal. Of course, highlight the weakness, that set piece. Make it count. Use your head, use your scorpion kick, whatever you can do. Rovers have scored 34 goals through open play, 8 set pieces, 6 counter-attacks, 3 penalties, and 1 own goal. As for goals conceded, 29 through open play, 13 set pieces, 3 penalties, and 2 counter-attacks, of course. What about the form? Well, this could be a decisive factor here. Rovers are 5th best over the last 6 matches, picking up 4 wins on the spin, 13 points out of possible 18. That's good form, but unfortunately, it might be a game or two too late. As for Sheffield United, they're down there, 17th best form right now, but they have actually won 2 of the last 3, so it ain't too shabby. Their home form is pretty stellar, just 1 defeat in the last 6. That 1 defeat was against Millwall. Can we do that? Can we, of course, get them on the break just one time and get the goal? Rovers on back-to-back away wins coming into this, so pretty good form right now. What can we expect from the match? Well, there we go. Sheffield United are good from shooting from free kicks, scoring chances, counter-attacks, attacking set pieces, long shots, using through balls and individual skill. As for their weaknesses, there is no weaknesses. They are pretty much stellar. Stellar artois. Their style of play, though, is controlling the game in the opposition half. They like to come down the right with through balls and mix up their 11 for the matches, of course. Rovers' strengths, protecting the lead, coming down the wings, counter-attack, stealing the ball from the opposition, and aerial duels. What about their weaknesses, though? Our weaknesses of offside, of course. It's a pain in my ass. Ohashi, stay on side. Avoiding fouling in dangerous areas, defending set pieces, our style of play, through balls, playing in their own half, and can be quite aggressive. The forecast says Sheffield United will score from a free kick and a set piece and control the game in the opposition half. But that's what they think. That's not what I think. That's what the computer thinks. What about the table coming into this? Rovers are 8th, and mathematically we will be, the lowest we could be is 9th. But the highest we can be is 5th. That's right. And that would put a right old spanner in the works for everyone's permutations, because everyone thinks if we are to do it, we'll be playing Sheffield United for 3 games in a row, which will be a very sickening, daunting opportunity. But I'd love to just have that opportunity. But we could finish in 5th and take on Sunderland. And I don't know. Look at their form right now. Their form is pretty shitty. So if we could do that, then that'd be great. But if not, we'll see. We've just got to take it as it comes. This has been the trajectory for Rovers and Sheffield United. Sheffield United, the green, once they got in there, they pretty much stayed in there. A little bit hard done by that. They didn't finish in second. Yeah. Rovers, again, good season, strong season for the most part, inside that top 5 for a good portion. It did go off the boil here, and it was looking pretty grimming for us. But we did turn a corner and won 4 on the bounce, unbeaten in 5 now coming into this. This is what else is going on. Of course, all eyes around the place. Kickoffs all over the place. 12:30 UK time, 7:30 for me. There are some big games everywhere. Plymouth Argyle against Leeds. Don't really care too much about that game, but Leeds will need to win or at least to outgun Burnley. Their level on points, they have the superior goal difference. So if they draw or lose, then Burnley will hope to take the title. And we kind of need them to do just that. West Brom against Luton. Again, if we're going to be if we want the perfect roster, we want Luton Town to win, I think. Derby County and Stoke. I guess we would like Stoke City to win, to put Derby possibly on the brink of elimination. Hull City against Portsmouth. We would really, again, if I'm cherry picking results, Hull City to win. Bristol City against Preston. I would guess we'd absolutely steal a Preston North End win right now against Bristol City. Burnley against Millwall. We need Burnley to win again. We are calling on favours for savers. Swansea against Oxford. We don't care, but I guess maybe for momentum, maybe give Oxford the win. Watford against Sheffield Wednesday again. Give Watford the win. Sunday against QPR. We need a win there just to continue that form. No Marty Cufientes on Gardening League. Coventry against Borough. I don't know. Obviously, we don't want Coventry to win. We want a Borough to win or a draw on that. And Norwich gets Cardiff. Don't really care about that. So that's that. What about just for stats and, of course, to clean up here, because this is the last actual preview we're going to do probably for the season. This is the top goal scorer, Joe Perreault, with 19 goals, couple ahead of Bordeaux Saints of Norwich. Brownhill's up there in 3rd. The most assists coming at you from Murphy. Freebie for Portsmouth. Was he a free transfer? I think it was freebie for Portsmouth from Oxford, fellow Solomon as well. Well, it all boils down to this, guys. Now, Jonty did try and push me in a corner and try and ask me outright, what do I think will happen? Well, I didn't want to give it away because it's right here at the end of the show. I've put it here in black and white. My prediction's going to come on the screen in about 20, 30 seconds. It is one of those games, of course. Sheffield United will be a little bit rotated, which doesn't diminish. It does not diminish their team. Their second best team is probably better than our first best team, our best team. So they've got a lot of good players to play, and they'll save their best for the playoffs, of course. But what I can say is that Rovers will bring the fucking kitchen sink. That's right. We've seen some tenacity by Blackburn Rovers over the last couple of games. We've been down against Watford and we came back to win it. We were pretty much out of it against Sheffield Wednesday and we came back to get something out of it. Of course, a draw is not what we need. We need the win. We've had some big wins over the last 4 matches. Again, a lot of them may not have had some significance, but Millwall were on fire. We damaged them punks. Luton were desperate, sat scrapping for their lives. We went there and we won. Sunderland, of course, are in the top 6. They're there on merit. We beat them at their own place as well. So some good results. Can we add this to it? I do think we are going to go into this game and we're going to get something out of it. Will it be more than a point? Will it be the all 3? Well, I'm going to stick my neck out, guys. If you haven't checked out my prediction show already, this will come as a surprise. I'm going to go bold, going to go brilliant. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for Rovers. But will that be enough to get us over the line? I don't know. Of course, that's the nature of the league. A win, we might win 6-0, and that still won't be good enough because it's all done and dusted at Ashton Gate. It's all done and dusted at the Rico or the RCA, or whatever they call it, at Coventry. So that's my prediction. Again, I'll give you a 10-second countdown. If anybody wants to jump in and have a chat, use the link on the screen right about now. But if you don't, I'm going to get out of here. I've got to get ready for the office. Of course, not the TV show, but that's it. So Rovers, this is it. All on the line. Kitchen sink, must win to stand in with a chance. We'll go live tomorrow with a watch along. Hopefully you're there to join me as well as we look forward to that. Again, there might be a phone-in option for there. But until then, I'll see you all soon. Let's go and do this, Rovers. You got this. Believe. Appreciate Jonty again for coming in. Live. And again, we'll see you soon tomorrow for the big one. Until then, I'm out of here, guys.